Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday. Working towards the weekend. Hope your day's off to a good start. Thanks for hanging with us here the next
Jackson,
couple of
KNXX,
hours.
Donaldsonville.
Got Casey Gaines and Jacob Beck back there on the ones and twos. We're loaded today. Very, very much so. In 15 minutes, we're going to chat with Luke Johnson as we do each and every Thursday. He's down at Saints camp and is checking on the black and gold, so we'll get with Luke here in 15 minutes. Shea Dixon's going to join us at 1:30. By now, you probably know the Duncanville duo. 4-star running back Kaden Durham, 5-star edge Colin Simmons, both going to announce from their high school at 2 o'clock. Shea will give us a preview of that at 1:30, and then we will air it live at 2 o'clock. We'll try to, I don't know how that ceremony is going to go. Hopefully it's not a 30-minute ordeal. We'll take a look at it. If the principal's up there talking, I'll keep talking. When it looks like they're about to do something of significance, we will take that feed live from South Dallas. That'll be at 2 o'clock. We got Meet the Freshmen coming up at 2:15. And I've got thoughts from LSU camp, which I was able to check out this morning, and so I will start with that. You know, a lot of times in radio, when you've got a segment that you're doing as kind of a monologue, there's generally an angle and there's a flow to it, and you're kind of going from one topic softly into the next. And that's not going to be the case with this segment. This is going to be kind of a notebook segment of things that I noticed in my time out there today on the Ponderosa. So let's dive into kind of the things I noticed, maybe in order of what I considered significance. Let's fire away. Aaron Anderson, he looks good. You just didn't know. He goes to Tuscaloosa from Carr. He gets hurt, doesn't help him last year, transfers in, isn't out there for the spring, and you're kind of like, okay, well, what is this going to look like? And when they're out there with no pads on, he's running through cones, he looks pretty good. Well, today they put the full pads on. And today they were running through individual drills. Today they were doing one-on-ones. Today they were doing 7-on-7. They went some 11-on-11. And Aaron Anderson is full go. He does have a sleeve on that knee. It is not slowing him down whatsoever. They were running some red zone routes. He absolutely put Sage Ryan on skates on one and made an easy play. He looks really, really smooth and really, really quick. And it's a dimension that he brings that I don't know that Malik Neighbors brings. Brian Thomas certainly doesn't bring that. Kyron Lacey doesn't bring that. We haven't seen it from Chris Hilton. I don't know. He's got track speed. But Aaron Anderson's just slippery and quick and shifty and just everything you want in the slot. And we heard Mike Denbrock today, which we don't have the sound because it was 20 minutes ago, say that Aaron Anderson's just a guy we have to get the football to. Like, we've got to get him the ball. He's just got such a fluidity to him. He's smooth, and that's what we saw today. And then you look at what Brian Kelly said earlier this week, where we've got a guy that we think can be a difference maker in the kick return game. He didn't name names. I think I got the name. Aaron Anderson looks really, really good and healthy, and that's what you'd expect from a high 4-star, 5-star type talent. He looks really, really good. That was the first thing I noticed today. Number 2, speaking of guys that look really good coming off injury. They were doing a little drill where you had 3 offensive linemen, so one side of the line of scrimmage you had center guard tackle, then you have 2 defensive linemen and a linebacker, and then you would have a running back, and they did kind of a half the line running drill. And on consecutive snaps, the defensive linemen were going 2 in a row. On consecutive snaps, Mason Smith just blew the entire play up. One time he took Mason Lunsford and drove him back 3 yards into the backfield and stuffed the running back. And you got a comment from one of the coaches said, every rep, Mason, every rep, talking to Mason Smith, not Mason Lunsford. But that's what we've heard. And it's hard to get a grasp on what Mason Smith is when they don't have pads on and they're getting down in a 3-point stance and firing off under a tower to keep their pad level down when they're not even wearing pads. It's hard to tell what Mason Smith is when he's doing the cone drill. He's big. He moves all right. But when you put the full pads on and you throw a couple of offensive linemen at him and he just knocks him to the side like it's nothing and stops the running back on a drill where the running backs far more often than not break it free into the clear because there's no help. There's only 3 defenders. They didn't on those 2. they were stonewalled by Mason Smith. That was a welcome sight to me, because when you talk about how good can your team be, your stars need to be your stars. And we're told he's a star. We haven't seen him be a star, and certainly 2 reps aren't going to tell the entire story of his LSU career, but I felt pretty good about watching him. So that was the second thing that I really liked at practice today. There's been a little bit of movement in the secondary, and it's still early. I'm not proclaiming anything. I'm not talking about the Florida State game. I'm talking about today and really the last 8 days. That's what we're talking about here. And we continue to see the first team out there, and generally speaking, Zy Alexander is out there in the first team. Generally speaking, Deuce Chestnut is out there. Greg Brooks is out there. Generally speaking, Major Burns is out there. Like, we know the guys that usually run with the first team. And then they shuffle some guys in with some of those first teamers. And when that happens, Denver Harris does not go in. Denver Harris has been a third team guy. But there was a guy that did go in with some first team reps today. And it's a guy that we've heard a little bit about in press conferences, and it's a stunner to me. Ashton Stamps has had a nice start to his first fall camp. Recruited late in this class from Rummel, secondary player, earned a camp offer, not really offered by a lot of other big schools. Every once in a while, these guys pop up. And it was just one period that I'm watching. They weren't even doing 11 on 11 at this point. It was a just defense drill. The offense wasn't even involved at all. They had dummy guys running offense, and they were just working on passing off, crossing routes, and communication in the secondary. But at one point, Deuce Chestnut stayed in. Zy Alexander came out, but Brooks and Burns were still out there, and so were Perkins and Spates. It was the first team out there, and there's Ashton Stamps. They like him, and he's put on some weight since his senior year, and I think that's a really good thing for him, and it's a little puzzling with Denver Harris. I'll tell you, they went down to red zone, and they were doing one-on-ones, and Denver Harris lined up against Malik Neighbors, and it was just a soft fade route that didn't even get to the corner of the end zone, and Neighbors just kind of turned around and caught it. Harris never turned around. I'm not a cornerbacks coach. I don't know. I just tell you what I'm looking at, and it was a pretty easy rep for Malik Neighbors. Wasn't even that great a throw. So I think this just kind of backs up the fact that Denver Harris has got some work to do. The talent's there, and that's a good place to start. But there are some other guys that are working in front of him. Speaking of the cornerback spots, if your concern is, well, we took Colby Richardson from the FCS, and that didn't really work out at corner in the SEC. You could look at Colby Richardson and say, yeah, he's skinny. You stand next to Zy Alexander, which I did for the first time today. Size won't be an issue. He's 6'2", he's 190 pounds. Like, he looks every bit the part of everybody out there. I don't know if he can cover a lick. My instincts tell me, based on his performance at Southeastern and where they've got him running, they think he can. So I'll defer to them on that. But size is not an issue. He's not going to get knocked around or be totally out-physicaled. He's plenty big enough, I can promise you. I will say this, because I heard Matt on Live at Lunch a little earlier, and he was talking with Jimmy and Charlie about what he saw today, and this was evident to me as well. The defense punched back today. We've talked for a week and a half about how the offense has ruled camp, and I told you about how I think that makes a lot of sense, because I think this offense is going to be really good. And some of the one-on-ones today, the defense punched back. I've already told you about Mason Smith. But I'll tell you this. Andre Sam made a couple really nice plays in coverage in one-on-one drills. Deuce Chestnut had a really good rep on a double move where he never was off balance and made the knockdown. The defense was good today, which was nice to see. I think ideally, if you're looking at a fall camp situation, you want the offense to throw a punch one day, the defense to throw a punch back the next day. If you get a little out of whack, you may have one unit that's good, or you may have one unit that's real bad. And I've never, for 1 second, thought that LSU's defense was real bad. But I do want them to kind of assert themselves at times, and they did. And it's probably no coincidence that that's the first time they put the pads on. The defense could get a little more physical. There's a little bit more for them to get to. And I thought the defense looked pretty good today. And the last one, this was just an individual play that I saw that kind of reinforces a little bit of a building storyline here early in camp. They were in the red zone around the probably 6-7 yard line doing one-on-one passing routes, wide receivers and tight ends against DBs. And there was a play, and I'll describe it, and you will see it very vividly because it's a very, very, very common football play. But this is the kind of play you expect this guy to make, and he made one today right in front of me, and I just loved it. Kamorian Pimpton lined up in the slot, ran that stutter fade to the corner, and the ball got thrown way up toward the pylon, and he just went right over the DB. I didn't get to see who the DB was. It was on the other side of the field. I could tell it was Pimpton because he came off and was giving a lot of high fives and whatnot. I missed the number of the DB, and some of them are hard to see because they've got their jerseys rolled up under their pads, so like their abdomen's all exposed and you can't really see the number. But Pimpton goes straight up, right over the top, 6'6", vertical, ridiculous wingspan, and just high points and catches it. And to a point, there's just not that much you can do about that as a defender. I'm not telling you that LSU's got Brock Bowers already, but I'm telling you that when you see a recruit, you look at measurables and you think about what their potential is on a college football field. When you see Kamorian Pimpton and you see his size and you see his arm length and you see his body control, you go, well, he could be pretty tough to deal with on like jump balls. Well, they threw one today, and he went right up and caught it out of the sky. I was like, that's it. That's the one. Mason Taylor had a really good catch on a corner route against Alabama in the end zone for a touchdown. Heck of a player. He can't catch the ball where Kamorian Pimpton caught the ball today, that I saw today. In fact, I can't think of almost anybody on the team that makes that catch. I think Brian Thomas could go get it. I think Malik Neighbors could probably jump up vertical-wise and go get it. But it's a short list. Shelton Sampson, maybe. Pimpton can, and I watched it, and it was awesome. So those were my biggest takeaways from today, kind of individually. Some movement in the secondary, defense punching back, Mason Smith blowing up plays, Pimpton making an individual play. Last thing, injury-wise, Greg Brooks was back on the practice field today. No contact jersey, running with the first team, going full speed. He didn't appear to be slowed at all. J.K. Johnson, if you missed this, the corner from Ohio State that came in, has a fracture and is going to miss some significant time. He was out there on a scooter again today, so no J.K. Johnson for the foreseeable future. But they got some guys in the secondary that they're working through. So that's my look at LSU fall camp from today. If you're looking for your fall camp information, if you're looking for your LSU football information, we've got a YouTube channel we'd love you to subscribe to. It's going to bring you these little segments, 10, 12 minutes, right to your feed every single day. It's Hunt on LSU. Pretty simple. Hunt on LSU. You subscribe to that channel, you're going to get your LSU football content each and every day. We'd appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe. That helps us out a good bit. When we come back, Luke Johnson from Saints Camp, Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Love telling you about our friends at One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com. David Duvall and his team been in the game for 30 years, and they've got a great deal for you, the Hunt Palmer Show listener. If you call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets, say, hey, I need closet help and I need bathroom help. We're going to do a combo here. 10% off the whole deal. 10% off if you do a combo. Maybe you don't need the whole combo. You're just focused on that bathroom. Full-scale bathroom renovation, they got you covered. Just a tub-to-shower conversion. Take that tub out, put a gorgeous glass walk-in shower. They got you. On the closet side, you just got too much clutter. You got suitcases, you got shoes, you got clothes jammed in there. You don't have enough coat hangers, not enough shelf space. Let David Duvall and his team come in and do a custom closet for you. Custom closet just for your needs. Starts with a questionnaire, finishes with a closet that meets all of your needs. The website is onebathandclosets.com. You can see the testimonials. You can see this place where you request that free consultation. Just give them a shot. It's onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you.
Pop, pop.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers are back on the practice field. We'll have a practice report, and we'll hear from OC Mike Denbrock. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. We'll go down to NOLA, maybe Metairie, maybe New Orleans, who knows. But Luke's down there somewhere. He'll join us each and every Thursday throughout football season. He does so now. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Kind of a newsy day, a newsy week in Saints camp. I think one of the things that probably front of mind for y'all is the Saints may move training camp out of South Louisiana. Is that a distinct possibility?
Yeah, I think it's actually more than a possibility. I think it's a likelihood for next year. This is kind of being driven right now by the fact that the team needs to build a new cafeteria, which is connected to their indoor facility. Which, I mean, you need that thing for training camp itself, and then the construction would be all around the indoor facility, just kind of make it impossible to have training camp down here next year. So, would fully expect them to take the show on the road in 2024. And I don't know, man, maybe beyond. It's really hard to hold it down here. I mean, it is brutal. It's been brutal forever, but I don't even know how these guys are out there practicing right now. It's hard enough just to go out there and watch.
It's tough. We were out there on LSU's practice field today, and it's rather toasty. Of course, I'm the only guy out there in pants because I'm in work attire like an idiot, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the preseason game. It's not great. So let's talk about the preseason game. They'll crank things up on Sunday. How much do you expect to see of the starters?
My colleague Jeff Duncan reported today that starters should probably get about 15 plays each. You're looking at maybe 2 series for the offense, maybe 2 or 3 for the defense. And I think that's about right. I think that makes sense. The next couple of weeks after this first preseason game, they're going to have joint practices, and I think a lot of the NFL coaches he talked to would say they probably get a little bit more out of the joint practices in the games, just because you don't know who you're going to be going up against in the games. You don't know the teams aren't going to necessarily be running their full schemed looks when that's going to be on tape for other teams to study. Whereas in practice, it's a little bit different. I think it makes sense for them to run the starters out there week one, let them get adjusted to each other, and kind of play it on a week by week basis after that, and maybe get those guys out of there after joint practices and don't even bother risking them getting injured in preseason games 2 and 3.
Are there a couple of starters? I'm kind of thinking of Trevor Penning specifically that may play a little bit more than say Derek Carr or whoever the veteran may be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Penning is probably a guy I'm most keeping an eye on there, right? I mean, I think they've been bringing him along slowly in training camp, and they've been giving him some rest and letting him have some days where he takes 2 practice reps and then comes out during full team periods. But we've seen him go more and more, and he's a guy who needs it, right? He was making a huge jump going from Northern Iowa to the NFL last year, and he didn't get the reps. He missed basically the entire season. He missed 11 games. He only started 1. And on top of that, he spent most of his off season rehabilitating the Liz Frank injury in his foot. So he needs the game time, game speed snaps, and I think they're going to give him a lot.
One guy that I'm curious to hear your thoughts on is Chris Olave as he kind of enters his second camp, where instead of this is a rookie who looks pretty good, they invested a first round pick to this dude needs to be our number 1.
I don't think there's any question about it. Right now, in my mind, he is their number 1. I know Mike Thomas is back and healthy, but I think there's a gap between him and Olave. Olave looks like he's ready to be a star, man. And it's weird to say that you think a guy is going to make this big jump from his rookie season when he had 1,000 yards and he didn't even play the full season. He's one of the best rookie receivers in Saints history. But he put on a little bit of muscle this year. It's not super noticeable, but 7 pounds I think could be a big deal for him. He was a guy who often last year had trouble holding onto the ball either through contact by a defender or through contact with the ground. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him, and he's not lost any of his explosiveness. I mean, look, the Saints defensive backfield is probably their deepest unit on the team, and he was just torching guys in one-on-ones today. I mean, good players. They had looked like they had no chance keeping up with them. And even when they did, he reached over Alontae Taylor today and made a great contested catch. That's the sort of catch he wasn't making last year. It's the second time we've seen him do it in about a week of practice. I think the guy's just going to be a star. I think legitimately putting himself in the conversation among the NFL's elite receivers this year.
Chatting with Luke Johnson, Saints beat reporter for The Advocate. Been down there at Saints camp all August long. I'll stick to the offense briefly and talk about the tight end spot. I'll just throw that out there open-ended. I could ask by one individual, but I think there's a few storylines there worth looking at. What have you seen over the last week at tight end?
I really like where that group is at right now. I think they've got a good mix of skill sets there. Juwan Johnson, I mean, the guy's done nothing but improve every year in his career. Obviously, he came here as just a big body blocking wide receiver, and they moved him to tight end. But I think if you just kind of extrapolate his usage last year, you take those numbers and multiply them by what the big time NFL tight ends get in terms of targets and everything. I think he would have been right there, top 5 receivers in the NFL as a tight end. I mean, he is just so athletic and so smooth. And when you add elements like Olave getting better, when you add Alvin Kamara being more of a weapon in the passing game, which I think is going to be true this year. I think Rashid Shaheed, whenever he gets back from his groin, as long as he's healthy, I think he has an over-the-top element that makes it just creates space. And I think you look at what Derek Carr has done over his career. The guy who caught more passes than anybody from Carr in Oakland, Las Vegas, was Darren Waller. And that includes Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree and some really, really good receivers that he worked with over there. Darren Waller was the guy. And you can go down the list. It's like 4 out of the top 12 guys in terms of receptions were tight ends. And we see that day after day after day in practice. He's going to Juwan and, got to have it moments. I think they're going to have a really nice connection this year. I really like Foster Moreau's addition. He's like a true wide tight end for these guys. And, I don't think he's going to be out there catching like 50 passes, 60 passes this year, but I think he's going to play a hugely important role in that offense. Jimmy Graham, I can't imagine him getting more than like 15 snaps a game. I think if they are in that spot, something's gone wrong. But he's still clearly got it as a pass catcher. And we saw him out there yesterday. He caught 6 passes and 6 targets. Caught passes from all 3 quarterbacks. Is he going to be that every game? No, but I think he's still got something left in the tank. And when you're talking about like red zone stuff, I think he can be a weapon down there. I mean, it's not like he's shrunk from 6'7". And then Taysom Hill. I'm not sold on him as like a tight end, but he's definitely gotten better as a pass catcher. That was a huge weakness in his game. He's gotten better there, and I still think his clear best role is when they put him in as a run first quarterback who can hurt you with his arm. I just think that's a really fun group. It's a really diverse group. It's unlike I think any other tight end group in the NFL, and I think that could be honestly one of their strengths on offense this year.
So help me out here, because we know the NFL is a numbers game with the 53 and with the practice squad and all that kind of stuff. You're telling me the Saints are going to show up in week 1 and 2 of the roster spots are going to be gadget running quarterback and red zone tight end? I mean, that's legitimately part of their 53? If you're talking about Graham and Hill, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. Taysom is essentially their emergency quarterback on game day, right? And Jimmy, I think, can serve. Juwan, I think, can serve multiple roles for this team. I was telling somebody about this today. I don't think they need to keep a 5th wide receiver on this team necessarily, or to keep a guy on the team strictly to be like their blocking receiver, because I think Juwan can fill that role. It's not like when you put him on the outside of a formation, you're telegraphing that it's a run, because he does that stuff all the time in their normal offense. So I think just some of the versatility of these players allows you to keep 4 tight ends in your roster and keep guys who have like small limited roles.
That's interesting. I think that most eyes for Saints fans once the crew comes out will probably be on Penning for as long as he's in there. And then, hey, what's this rookie quarterback guy? What is the expectation for Haener as he probably gets his first action this week?
If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have been like, man, he's going to go out there and throw 3 touchdowns and light it up, and like everybody's going to love him. He's cooled off after a really, really hot start. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough coming into the NFL, and I think that's, as a rookie quarterback, I think that's why he opened so many eyes his first week of training camp. But it's started to be a little bit more of a slog every day, and he's starting to show some rookie moments. But all that being said, I still think he's a really good player. I still think he's a really interesting player, and they obviously saw something in him beyond the stuff that everybody looked at, where they were like, he's undersized, he doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't. He plays like he doesn't believe that about him. Like he plays like he's 6'4" with Justin Herbert's arm. Maybe that'll get him into trouble, but I think he's a lot of fun. And it's certainly not, watching, Ian Book come in and complete check down after check down after check down and go 3 and out after averaging 4 yards per attempt. He's going to go in there and sling it. I'm really excited to see what he does. I just think that, the hype train's maybe not derailed, but it's losing a little bit of steam.
The high in New Orleans on Sunday, game day, is 99 degrees. Will you be bringing a jacket to work?
Yeah, of course. I'm just debating like what kind of jacket. Like, do I need to bring a parka?
For those who don't know, the Superdome press box is legendarily freezing cold.
Yeah, it's look, they got a cool whatever 100,000 square foot building it is, with 67 fans. They got these massive air conditioning units, which are conveniently placed about 10 feet above where you sit. so it's seriously, it's the dumbest thing when you go up there and it's 99 degrees outside and everybody's wearing jackets and their stats are blowing all into the fans, the seats. It's just, oh man. But look, I'd rather have that than sit outside and just be sweating my face off for 3 hours.
Enjoy some live football. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good, man.
Luke Johnson, Saints beat writer for The Advocate. I always laugh. I mean, I've been up there. It's really cold, but it's just funny. It's going to be 100 degrees on Sunday, and they're all going to be trudging into the dome with their jackets because the air conditioner is right behind them. It's a thing of beauty. All right, big drama in Big D. 2 high school commitments coming down in 30 minutes. Shea Dixon will get you ready for it next.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before in a 2023 Infiniti QX50 at your local Infiniti retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Up on Friday's OTB, let's get ready for the weekend, guys, as we got a Saints preseason game coming up, and you can expect to see the starters. What should you be watching? We'll break it all down off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In 25 minutes, the lights will come on in Duncanville, Texas, south of Dallas. Two huge announcements in the recruiting game. Kaden Durham, a 4-star running back from Duncanville High School. Colin Simmons, a 5-star edge rusher, top 10 player in the country at Duncanville High School. Both considering LSU. We bring on Shea Dixon of On3 before he's got to really get to work. Shea, did you get much sleep last night? Based on the message board posts I saw, not a ton.
We stayed up till a little after 1, hanging out on the message board, just chatting, trying to get everybody through this. It feels like a little mini signing day, which I hate because that's my, despite my job, one of my least favorite days of the year.
That's lovely. All right, well, tell us about Kaden Durham first and the position LSU has put itself in with the 4-star running back.
Yeah, this one is big. I mean, they went with, we know how many running backs they have on roster, a lot.
8.
But 8. A year from now, when we start, I bet that number's cut in half. I mean, a number of those guys, Emory, Kane, Josh Williams will have moved on. We'll see if a guy like Logan Diggs tries to test the NFL waters. But they went with just a Kaden Durham or bust approach this cycle. And for Frank Wilson, being back at LSU, we've not seen very often him go out of state for running backs. I can only think of a couple. Stephen Ridley was a guy who played at LSU, and then obviously during Frank's tenure getting Spencer Ware out of the Midwest. So for Durham then to go into Texas and focus only on him tells me he's the real deal, and he is one of the best sprinters in the country. He's one of the best sprinters, certainly in the state of Texas. Ran in a number of events at the state finals and running for Duncanville in the 4x1 and running the 100. He's got a number of sub-10.5 times in the 100 meters. For a 5'10", 200-pounder for his running back, that's rare. So I'm not surprised that they circled Durham as the guy that they wanted to get. And I didn't know for a long time, especially early in this process, that they could beat out Oklahoma because Durham is a kid whose mother is in the Hall of Fame at Oklahoma. She was an elite sprinter for the Sooners. His dad and a lot of his family still live around Norman, and he's even got the area code tattooed on his leg. This is a kid who grew up around the Sooners. And for LSU to do the work they did when Oklahoma once considered this a lock to now even Oklahoma saying that this one is likely going LSU's way is one of the more impressive kind of recruiting efforts we've seen this cycle in terms of guys LSU's reeled in or potentially are going to reel in here in the next 30 minutes.
If he's got the Norman area code tattooed on one leg, he's got another leg. We can throw 225 on that just fine. Let's just bring him on down, and I think that'll work out nicely. That dovetails into his teammate Colin Simmons, who is also announcing, and we know Colin Simmons at this point, 5-star edge rusher. It's looking like LSU and Texas. This has been a really back and forth battle. It's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, this is one. I mean, Colin has wanted people guessing on his recruitment from the start, and that's where we're at. I think my view of it right now is Texas is probably the team that you feel comfortable saying will probably win out. Now, LSU and Texas got the same number of visits. He gave LSU his final visit for the Bayou Splash when he was in with Kaden Durham. And right after that, both of them said, okay, we're ready to announce, and here we are doing it on the same day at the same time. And you would think that bodes well for LSU, but I just think that Texas has kept coming back, and anything that LSU's done, they've had to counter, and I feel that way because think of this. As they come into the SEC, and right now with a recruiting class that ranks outside the top 20, LSU, if they get Kaden Durham alone, will move up to the number 6 class in the country. Being outside the top 20, there's pressure, and there were people in Austin who described Colin Simmons in Texas as a Leonard Fournette type moment of importance to Texas's program. Well, you don't feel that same vibe here in terms of how badly LSU would need to get a guy like Colin Simmons, certainly coming off of a year where they just landed a 5-star edge rusher in Deshaun Womack. But I then look, Texas has signed only one time in the past 10 years, the number 1 player out of Texas. And they have not signed any across the past 10 years of the 5-star edge rushers that came out of Texas. There's only been 2, Myles Garrett being one of them, but neither went to Texas. And then if you even branch it up beyond that, the guys who are in the top 50, the only other guy was Caleb on Chason, and we know where he went. He went to LSU. So Texas and Sark and that whole staff, I feel, really, really need this one to go their way. And if LSU ends up pulling this off, which I think people are calling it 50-50, you could say that. I'd be a little surprised if they still came away with it, but not shocked. But boy, if it's not Texas, heads are going to be rolling in Austin, which is kind of not the same vibe we're feeling here in Baton Rouge heading into Brian Kelly in year 2.
So if Colin Simmons were to go to Texas, that's a 5-star edge that LSU would be very, very much in on and come up a little bit short on. How much importance would that place on Dominic McKinley from Acadiana for the LSU staff?
I think you have to put the same amount of importance that I'm valuing Texas having on Simmons as LSU having on McKinley. The number 1 player in the state, a 5-star defensive lineman, and not just a defensive lineman, but a defensive tackle. And that's one area that they have not been able to hit on consistently in the recruiting area, past few recruiting classes. And they've had to go very heavy on the transfer portal and then rely on older guys like Jacoby and Guillory to kind of carry them through this season. And certainly we saw last season, they had barely even had a rotation there. So I do think that no matter what happens here, as we turn to September 1st, when McKinley is going to announce, all eyes are on if LSU can keep him in state, because that is the biggest fish that's still out there for them.
We'll let you get to work, Shea. Thanks for the time, man.
All right, Hunt. Y'all enjoy this. Get dialed in.
We're going to try. We will be dialed in. We're going to actually carry it live on our airwaves here in 19 minutes. So we'll have Colin Simmons and Kaden Durham's announcement coming up at 2 o'clock. If you want your recruiting information, Shea and Billy have been all over this from the start. Y'all know kind of my thoughts on recruiting. I like it when the ink dries. I like to see what the class looks like. I think recruiting is absolutely vital to championship organizations. It's been proven out. But Elliott's blue chip index says if you don't have 50% or more 4 and 5 stars on your roster as opposed to 3 stars, you can't win a national championship. It hasn't been done in decades. So I think it's massively important to handle your business in recruiting. I'm just not necessarily here for all of the what's his girlfriend say on Instagram and what color socks is he wearing and what did that tweet mean and did he go on this visit to that camp. I've put that part to bed. But there are a lot of y'all that love that stuff, and I know that because it's on 3, and I've dabbled in it here and there, just kind of keeping up with things, trying to stay educated for the show. And the work that Shea and Billy put in is unbelievable. And they've got incredible sources. They've got an incredible work ethic. And they've got incredible resources that they use inside their network to continue to move through. So Jerry Hamilton, who's been covering this from the Texas side of things, has popped into their message board, vice versa with Shea and Billy over on the Texas message board. The chalk right now that everybody kind of feels is that Kaden Durham will pick LSU and that Colin Simmons will pick Texas. But I will tell you this, that the Texas folks, like the way this usually works, I don't think Shea's public about this on their message board. Like you've got sources, whether it's in the camp of the recruit, maybe inside the program, and usually a recruit will say to the staff, yeah, I'm going to commit to you before they actually do it publicly. And when that happens, more often than not, the insiders are like, okay, well, and they can drop significant hints. Or if, like I was with Shea, I don't mind telling this at all because it's like, 13 years old? Jamare Rasco committed and signed with LSU on signing day. He was a 5-star out of Evangel. And that was the 2011 class. And Shea knew his mom had told him before. So Shea was able to write the story, get everything ready, and then when the commitment happened, he didn't ruin it for the kid, but he put it on there. And so you kind of know sometimes. It doesn't appear anybody in either media circle knows this time around, which makes it a little bit more interesting than normal. Again, I'm not your recruiting insider, and I'm not, I don't live in it like Shea and Billy and all those guys do, but it's not cut and dried. Like I think we think Kaden Durham's pretty well locked in, but we'll see with Colin Simmons. So we're going to bring you that live here on the air coming up at 2 o'clock. We'll come back from SportsCenter. I'll go on. I'm not going to go to the sound while the principal is thanking everybody and we're doing some kind of ceremony of whatnot. We're gonna get to what we believe to be the meat and potatoes. There's no script. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to go to it when we think there's some news that you'd like to hear. So we'll go to that at straight up 2 o'clock. Then we'll react to it coming up afterward. But still plenty to get to in the second hour here of the show. We're going to meet the freshmen in hour number 2. Do Whit Weeks and Kamori and Pimpton, who I told you a little bit about earlier today. Have some more LSU football thoughts as well. And then we'll also play some Take It or Leave It for sure. So come back with us. One more segment. I got just absolutely wild stories from the gambling world that I want to share. And then we'll get to the announcement from Duncan Bill. That's next.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers are back on the practice field. We'll have a practice report, and we'll hear from OC Mike Denbrock. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You don't know who Billy Walters is. You're probably not alone. I'm not sure I could have identified him with confidence as of 5-6 hours ago. I know of him, and now that I can put the name to it, I know who we're talking about. But Billy Walters Grew up dirt poor in Kentucky. His dad died when he was an infant. His mom was an alcoholic, left him. He lived with his grandparents. Grandmother died when he was 13. Lived in a place with no running water. He grew up dirt poor. Got a job right out of school as a car salesman. Hustled, made real money in car sales, and got involved in gambling. That was illegal in Kentucky, obviously. So he got caught up in that a little bit and ended up skirting the law, but decided, hey, I'm going to move to Vegas where this is legal and we're going to do this. He became one of the most famous gamblers ever. He had a 30-plus year winning streak, bet everything. Casino games, sports, had a huge operation, millions and millions of dollars annually. And he ended up getting caught up in insider trading, had a 5-year prison sentence that was commuted, but he's lived a heck of a life. And in part of this life, he got intertwined with Phil Mickelson. And now Billy Walters is writing a book. And Phil Mickelson is mentioned fairly prominently in said book with detailed notes about Phil Mickelson's gambling habits. I'm not here to tell you good or bad or whatever. Phil's got a ridiculous amount of money. He can gamble on whatever he wants. But to know the actual facts of it, as Walters recalls and as he has kept detailed notes in terms of keeping them, it's wild what Phil was doing. There's a snapshot in the book of Phil's gambling habits between 2010 and 2014. He bet $110,000 to win $100,000, a total of 1,115 times. 1,100 times he bet $110,000 to win 100. On 858 more occasions, he bet $220,000 to win $200,000. The sum of those wagers came up to more than $310 million. In 2011 alone, in 1 year, he placed 3,154 bets through Billy Walters. That's 9 a day. One day in 2011, June the 22nd, 2011, he made 43 bets on Major League Baseball games that resulted in $143,000 in losses. 43 bets on Major League games. The most difficult to handicap of all. He lost $143,000 in a day. I mean, that is some stuff. There's a story in the book where Mickelson rallied up some folks, flew out of Scottsdale to Vegas on a Saturday, had a big posh spread in one of the nice hotel suites, had TVs all set up so you could watch all the games. They were roughhousing up there, throwing the football around the suite. And Tom Candiotti, former Major League pitcher, was there. And he was in Phil's crew, and they go down to the sports book, and they're going to place their bets for the day. And they're all kind of waiting for Phil to go first because it's Phil's trip, and he's gonna he's gonna get up to the window and place his bets first. And Phil very calmly, and probably says this for a fact, but probably true as well. You know, Phil he's got a little bravado to him. Says, "Oh, y'all go ahead and place your bets. The lines will probably move when I start betting." Like, yeah, y'all get your $150 bets in. That's fine. When I start throwing $500,000 at some of these games, the line will probably move a little bit. I mean, look, we knew that Phil was deep into this thing. That was evident by Alan Shipnuck's book called Phil. He had gotten some stories from some folks, and we know that Phil's betting heavy on the golf course, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday practice rounds, or whether it's just rounds out with the guys on a weekday. And we know that he was deep in with the bookies and all that kind of stuff, and deep in with Walters. That's all public knowledge. But just to see the fact that he bet $311 million over 4 years. I mean, think about that. We're not talking about some Saudi billionaire. We're talking about a guy who's just made a lot of money playing golf. To wager $311 million. Man, that's something. And that's not all of it. That doesn't count the golf course wagering and whatever else he's doing. That's just what he's throwing through Walters. And I guess Billy Walters could make these numbers up, sure. But they seem pretty detailed to me. He bet $110,000 1,115 times. He bet $220,000 858 times. On June the 22nd of 2011, he bet 43 times. Like, these are pretty specific numbers. Feels like they're probably pretty accurate. Wild how addictive that stuff can be. I love playing blackjack. I love it. But I do it once every 2 years because I don't have $300 million to toss down the drain. God bless you, Phil. Hope you're enjoying live. All right, when we come back after SportsCenter, we will eventually take you to Duncanville for the commitments of Kaden Durham and Colin Simmons. We'll react to them, plus meet the freshmen and more in hour number 2. So come back with us after SportsCenter. It is the Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before in a 2023 Infiniti QX50 at your local Infiniti retailer.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NFL regular season kicks off 4 weeks from tonight. But for now, it's a 4-day weekend of preseason action kicking off tonight. The Patriots play the Texans. The Seahawks play the Vikings. When the season does start, will Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow be ready? ESPN's Diana Rossini.
There is significant concern in Cincinnati that Joe Burrow will not be ready to go week 1. They're going to be very conservative from what I can gather. They're not going to try to roll him out there, push him out there, knowing how competitive the AFC is.
Diana Rossini on Get Up. Burrow has a right calf strain. In the first quarterfinal match at the Women's World Cup tonight, Spain will play the Netherlands. And it's safe to say Dutch forward Lineth Berenstein is happy that Team USA is out of the tournament. Berenstein says the American players had big mouths from the start, and we're already talking about the final at the start of the tournament.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2 on a Thursday. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. Working towards the weekend. We are almost there. Our Thursday shows brought to you by Rouse's. Saints fans, they want you to order Rouse's Markets curbside pickup online at rouses.com or on the Rouse's app. Let Rouse's personal shopper do the shopping for you. Curbside pickup is convenient, and the best part, it's free. You pay the same price for groceries as you would in the store as long as you spend $35. And if you use the code SAINTS20, you can save $20 on pickup orders of over $100. Look, if you're having a big tailgate party, you're watching the Saints on Sunday, want to get your groceries delivered right out front of the store at Rouse's, Saints20 gets you $20 off of a $100 or more order. That's right. You can save $20 on pickup order with that code Saints20. Curbside convenience at Rouse's Markets, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Busy hour number 2 here. We're going to get to meet the freshmen with Kamorian Pimpton and Whit Weeks here coming up. I also got some more of my thoughts from LSU's camp earlier today. If you missed the beginning of my show today, I kind of talked about the defense finally punching back. We saw some really good stuff from Mason Smith. Andre Sam, I thought, was impressive. We've seen some improvement from Ashton Stamps, who kind of made some waves in the freshman class as well. Mason Smith made some huge plays that I saw today. So I thought it was a good day for a lot of the defensive players out there at camp today. And, apparently things were pretty good for the offense in spurts in the 11-on-11 as well. I had to bolt to do a little bit of radio here, but it was a good day out there on the Ponderosa for the first time in full pads for LSU. I can tell you this, Matt Moscona was out there at practice today, and he also was there with Mike Denbrock, who met with the media earlier today as well. So Matt will have all the sound from that as well as his reaction to practice out on the Ponderosa on After Further Review. Early in hour number 1 as well, we talked with Luke Johnson on the New Orleans Saints. One of Luke's big takeaways early in camp, I was talking to him off the air, was he's really buying Chris Olave's stock. He thinks that Chris Olave could really become a true number 1 and one of the elite receivers in the NFC or the entire league, as he's just dominating at this point some of the drills, some of the really good defensive backs that the Saints have out there. Luke really feels confidently about that. And then Shea Dixon was with us at 1:30 talking about the commitments of Colin Simmons and Kaden Durham from Duncanville, which we're about to go to live south of Dallas here when those two reach the podium. To kind of get you primed on this, if you're just jumping in the car, not fully familiar with what we're looking at here, these are high school teammates from south of Dallas that are really, really good players. Kaden Durham is a 4-star running back, 5'10", 215 pounds or so, an elite-level track speed guy who runs track at Duncanville and will run track wherever he attends college. His mom ran track at Oklahoma and is in the Hall of Fame there in Norman, and he's a stud 4-star running back. That's really the only running back LSU has pursued in this cycle. I think that's pretty noteworthy. They've got a couple in-state that are big time next year, so even if you don't land Kaden Durham, you do have some backup plans next year, and there's always a transfer portal, even though you feel like you're going to lose John Emery, you're going to lose Noah Cain. Trey Bradford could move on. We'll see if you lose Loden Diggs to the NFL. But you do have 2 freshmen in this class, as well as Armani Goodwin, who is out there. So this is just the one guy that you're taking a swing at this year, and he's a really, really good one that LSU would love to get in the boat. So we'll see if Frank Wilson and company can lure in Kaden Durham here, who spent a lot of time in Baton Rouge over the last 12 months. And then the other one is Colin Simmons, who's a 5-star edge rusher from Duncanville. He's got all the measurables you would want. He's a top 10 player in the country by just about everybody, top 5 by some, and that's come down to an LSU and Texas battle. And LSU did a great job of going outside the state, getting Deshaun Womack last year as an edge rusher who wasn't from the state of Louisiana. They're looking to do it again here. That would be a huge pickup for LSU. As Shea mentioned, and that he's written a number of times, you've seen the exact same number of visits to Austin as you have from Baton Rouge from Colin Simmons. That interest seems to be sincere. He was here in his last visit, which is at the Bayou Splash. Kaden Durham was here, and they decided the next day that they were going to announce together on August the 10th. Never did anyone insinuate it was a package deal. Never did anyone insinuate that they were certainly going to LSU. They just kind of decided as teammates of one of the most powerful programs in high school football in the country that they would, as the top 2 guys in that program, announce on the same day. And they kind of set up this big announcement that they're carrying right there on 24/7 Sports that we'll bring it to. It's been an up and down recruitment. It's been kind of a quiet recruitment. And I talked about this in the last hour. That's like, it just doesn't necessarily seem like it's been significantly leaning one direction. And that's usually the way things look towards the end. Now, sometimes guys do something you don't expect. And that's just the nature of 18-year-olds in the recruiting world. But at this point, most believe that Kaden Durham will end up at LSU and that Texas will win out and get Colin Simmons. These guys can't sign on the dotted line today. So even if LSU gets both or neither, I think the recruiting efforts still continue. Now, there are ways that schools can say, hey, you've committed to us, you are committed to us, you're not taking any visits anywhere else. That's the case with some schools. Whether or not that's enforceable for these 2, we'll see. So it's certainly a big step. It's just not the final step like a National Signing Day signature would be. I'll tell you what, guys, let's take a timeout while we're here. They're still breaking things down. They haven't gone to them. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I'll do Meet the Freshmen if they still haven't taken the podium. If they have, we'll take you right to it. That's next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Storm season's here. Boudreaux's Electrical Services is here for you. Don't let your home lose power, whether you're in it or whether you've evacuated and just need to have your refrigerator running and your security system up and moving. Boudreaux's Electric can help you out. They can customize a generator to your exact needs. If you want to run your entire home on a generator, Boudreaux's Electric can do that. If you would like to just make sure that your refrigerator's running or just make sure that the security system's running, just make sure that one of the rooms in the house is functioning with lights, they can handle that as well. Boudreaux's Electric has been family owned and operated by Neil and Melissa Boudreaux for 40 years. They're a certified Generac dealer, and one of the great deals that they're offering their customers right now is a free 10-year warranty on all these generators. It is storm season. Have Boudreaux's Electric come out, look at your home, and put together a generator for you. They're a certified Generac dealer, and they've been at the same phone number for 40 years. Give them a call. Tell them you heard about them on the Hunt Palmer Show. Boudreaux's Electric at 985-397-1562. That is 985-397-1562.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Cold in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before in a 2023 Infiniti QX50 at your local Infiniti retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
On Friday's OTB, let's get ready for the weekend, guys, as we got a Saints preseason game coming up, and you can expect to see the starters. What should you be watching? We'll break it all down. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
He going to the blue.
To LSU in front of the Duncanville crowd. Commits to LSU in front of the Duncanville crowd. Let's see if we get Kaden to come sit back down next to Sam. Talk about this decision to commit to LSU.
That's a big decision, Kaden. Yeah. You were the #1 running back on their board. How much did that factor into this decision today?
I say it factored in a lot because they trusted me to be, the #1 running back that they needed, to get them the national championship.
And everyone here knows you're not just a football star. You also do it on track and field. What about LSU? Do you think they're going to put you in a position to succeed in both sports?
They track program like A1 for sprints. So I know, and the coaches told me that I'm going to be able to do track and football. So I'm good with that, for sure.
Well, congratulations, Kaden. Back to you in the studio, Josh in Nashville.
So that's one down. Kaden Durham commits to LSU. We caught it right on the number. We missed the intro to the interview with Kaden Durham. We caught him leaving the set, which I didn't think anybody was looking for. He walked over with what looked to be a younger sister, potentially, maybe a relative of some sort. They threw on the purple and gold hat, and Kaden Durham commits to LSU. So LSU does reel in a top 5 running back in this class, and he is going to be their one running back signee for this year. That commitment moves LSU up to number 6 in the On3 industry team recruiting rankings, and a really good get for Frank Wilson and this staff. This is a speed threat that has good size and a good frame. And I've been talking about this for a little bit, that the talent level at the running back position for LSU can be upgraded. I think LSU's running back should be fine this year. I think they're going to run the football pretty well. They've got a good offensive line, a quarterback that's a good running threat. They've got some pieces that are going to lead to a solid running game. Do they have that NFL dude back there, that all-conference dude back there? I don't know that they do. And I was saying yesterday when we meet the freshmen that I thought Caleb Jackson had a chance to be that guy eventually, not this year, but eventually. And certainly you would imagine that Durham would have the ability to be that kind of player. The speed is elite. He's got great balance, and he's put up massive numbers at one of the best high schools in Texas. So this is the one that we felt the best about here in Baton Rouge, that the recruiting experts felt the best about, that the LSU staff, I'm certain, felt the best about. No, this is an Oklahoma legacy. Mom's a Sooner. Dad lives up there by Norman. He's got the Norman area code tattooed on his leg, which I didn't know until Shea told us that earlier in the first hour. But LSU is able to land Kaden Durham. He is headed to Baton Rouge. So now we will head back to Duncanville for five-star edge Colin Simmons and his commitment.
Colin looks like he's having a great time. Doesn't look like there's any pressure on him today.
There's no
Sam,
pressure.
are we ready?
I think we're ready. You ready, Colin? You heard that. We're here with the #1 edge rusher in the entire country, Colin Simmons. He's got hats for Texas. He's got hats for LSU. And he's got a hat for Miami. And he snuck a hat for SMU in there too. How you feeling today, Colin?
I feel amazing. I feel blessed to be in front of my friends and family and make this big decision.
Of all these hats on the table, what are these schools to do to capture your attention, but also the attention of your family? Because we know that's important to you.
Like you said, family. The most important thing to me, like they all took care of my family and just showed love to my family, and that just meant a lot.
Well, the moment is yours, Colin. Take it and run.
You have a speech?
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Whew, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'd like to give honor and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be here where I'm at in life without him. I'd like to thank my family, especially my late great-grandmother, Orrin Mae Thomas, and my late grandfather, Paul Clarkson, who instilled in me the courage and strength to be great, who also were the first ones to have faith and believe in me. I'd like to thank my grandmother, Ramona Clarkson, for her unwavering prayers. Shout out to my aunts, Ari and Gabby Clarkson. Shout out to all the coaches who've invested in me, guided, and developed in me since Little League to high school, especially my Little League coach, Coach Lona. And my head football coach, Coach Reginald Samples. And my position coach, and also Coach Gabriel. I also want to give thanks to my step-pops who made me play football even though I didn't want to. I cried for like 2 weeks straight, I swear. Shout out to my second family. Y'all know who y'all are. I wouldn't be here without y'all. I promise you I wouldn't. Shout out to my, last but not least, shout out to my little bro who inspires me to continue to outwork me. Shout out to my little brother who inspires me to continue to outwork myself every day, and to my beautiful queen, my mother, Miss Monica, who has supported me and guided me in every dream I've had, who stood by my side no matter what, who's done the best to raise me since birth. My brother and my mother are my why I continue to wake up and better myself each and every day and be the best person that I know I can be. I love y'all. With that being said, I'd like to announce my commitment to the Give me that. Give me that. Give me that right there. Give me that.
Is that Texas?
Texas it is. Colin Simmons has committed to Texas. There it is. Wow, what a get.
All right. So we killed that video. We thanked everybody on Earth, and then we put the LSU hat on, said no. Put the Texas hat on, said no. Then gave little brother a hat and let little brother stand up, and then little brother put on the Texas hat. So this went just about the way we thought. Weren't sure how it would work on the radio side of things. Colin took a little while to get to the speech part, a little dead air there, and then with the charades with the hat, which you knew may as well show up. He's headed to the University of Texas. Not a big surprise. So LSU does get the one we expected and does not quite close on a 5-star edge rusher that would have been a huge piece to this class in Colin Simmons. And as I was talking to Shea Dixon in the first hour, what this does is it does not destroy LSU's signing class by any long shot. What it does is it does turn up a little heat on the recruitment of Dominic McKinley. Dominic McKinley is from Acadiana. He is also a 5-star. He is also an edge. It's a guy that they're fighting Texas with as well. And you're going to have to fight if you're going to recruit with Texas. That's just the way things are right now in this landscape. So LSU does really well in the Lafayette area, does really well in Acadiana, and they're going to have to do so with Dominic McKinley, who would take that spot. It doesn't hurt as bad as losing somebody from in-state. It's a guy that LSU did a really, really good job of recruiting, but in the end, just not quite enough. And Colin Simmons will go to Texas. But Kaden Durham, a 4-star running back, a top 10 running back in the class, and a really good player, moves LSU up currently to number 6 in the On3 national recruiting rankings. So that is your drama from Duncanville. Let's go ahead now and meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
We go from high school seniors in Duncanville to freshmen here in Baton Rouge. And the first one today is one that you're all very familiar with at this point. It's also from the Fort Worth area. And that's Kamorian Pimpton, the tight end. 6'6", 242 pounds. A consensus 4-star by all the services. Top 10 tight end by all the services. And a player that somehow, some way, Vanderbilt found a way to get committed. I've never gotten that story, but I would like it because this is a kid from, it's not like they found him in Maine. They didn't find him in, rural Wyoming. He was in Fort Worth. And somehow a 6'6", gadget-armed athlete is committed to Vanderbilt. But LSU identified that and said, okay, we may have a little something more to offer you here, Kamorian. And inevitably, that's what happened on signing day. Still a Vanderbilt commitment. Kamorian Pimpton decided to flip to LSU. You go out to practice. This was in the lead of my show today, about an hour and 10 minutes ago. I said, look, he's making plays that you would want a 6'6", 245-pound long-arm tight end to make. He's making jump ball catches. He's contorting his body on contested catches. He can get to balls that defensive backs can't get to because they will not play. He, for the entirety of his career at LSU, will not play against a defensive back that's 6'6", 240 pounds. Not one. There may be some rushing his quarterback. There won't be any running with him in the secondary. And this is out of the Brian Kelly playbook. You bring in Markway. You bring in Pimpton. You've got Mason Taylor. They've got some dudes at tight end. And this is one of them. This is a guy that Shea Dixon identified early. This is a guy that we have seen now at practice. He's got a chance to help this year. I would be willing to wager that this is a real impact player by the time he's done at LSU. Really, really nice ad by Brian Kelly and his staff, and a great start to camp for Kamorian Pimpton. I actually saw him blocking a little bit today in that 4-on-3 drill that they do with three offensive linemen, a tight end, a running back, and then 3 or 4 defenders, depending on the drill. And Pimpton's okay to stick his nose in there and knock somebody around a little bit. So great to see, and exciting prospect out there at practice for LSU and Kamorian Pimpton. The second freshman to meet the freshman today is Whit Weeks. Whit Weeks, 6'3", 225 pounds from Watkinsville, Georgia. I believe that's where Zach Mettenberger hails from, Watkinsville, Georgia. I did not also realize, when I think about Whit Weeks, sometimes you get confused with his brother Wes, and Wes came, of course, from Virginia after a nice finish to his freshman year at Virginia. He comes to LSU, didn't play a ton last year, but still on the roster. And Whit comes in. He was a consensus 4-star. Every single service had Whit Weeks listed as a 4-star, and that's a big dude at 6'3", 225 pounds. Every outlet has him a top 20 linebacker. Georgia was recruiting him and did want Whit Weeks. Ole Miss was in the mix as well, but inevitably he picks LSU, and I think this is a really nice get for LSU as well. This is another one of those positions. It's like safety, like running back, where there's going to be a lot of turnover potentially on your defense and around the linebacking spot. But potentially you could get, well, you're going to get Harold Perkins back, and Greg Penn can come back, and we'll see what Omar Speights decides to do. So it's fighting for special teams playing time, and it's trying to get your way to the field. I think Whit Weeks has the makings of a really, really good linebacker at LSU. I don't know that he fits into this group right now, because I think Penn, Speights, and Perkins are far and away your leaders there. We know Perkins is a freak. We know they'll move him around. They know that he's going to be in the middle of the defense more often than not. We know what Penn is. He's steady, if not spectacular. And Speights has a chance to be the team's leader in tackles. I mean, he could be – there's reasonable expectation that Omar Speights would come in and have similar production that he did at Oregon State. I know that the Pac-12 is not the SEC. I know the Big 12 is not the SEC. I know the ACC is not the SEC. But Jark Bernard Converse can come in and be a guy. Clearly, Jahmyr Gibbs didn't have any problem leaving the ACC, going to the SEC, and playing really well. And I expect Deuce Chestnut to be really good coming in from Syracuse, and I expect Omar Speights to be very good coming in from Oregon State with the level of productivity that they put out there in other places. So the linebacker spot's a little crowded, but I think Whit Weeks is a really nice find for LSU, and so Pimpton and Weeks look to be really good players in the future. I think Pimpton more quickly than Weeks. So that's an abbreviated version of Meet the Freshman right there. We did just go to Duncanville and get the commitments of Kaden Durham and Colin Simmons. You're just jumping in the car. Wanted to hear about it. Kaden Durham, 4-star running back, commits to Louisiana State University. He will be in Baton Rouge. Colin Simmons, 5-star edge. LSU comes just short. He will head to Austin to play for the Longhorns. When we come back, some more LSU football talk on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana like Corey Barr. Corey Barr operates 3 businesses in his home of Monroe. Wouldn't seem amazingly noteworthy if he hadn't had so many opportunities to leave and do things in the culinary world because of what he did on Food Network with beating Bobby Flay and winning Food Network star. Says, no, I'm a Louisianian. I want to better Louisiana. I want to help our economy, give my city jobs. He's a proud Louisianian. That makes him a champion of Louisiana. If you know of a champion of Louisiana like Corey Barr, we want to know about him. It could be a person, nonprofit, business. They're doing great philanthropic work in Louisiana. Let LWCC know. Go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story. Corey Barr, certainly a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before in a 2023 Infiniti QX50 at your local Infiniti retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers are back on the practice field. We'll have a practice report, and we'll hear from OC Mike Denbrock. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This feels like such a fast-moving show. I feel like we just started, and all of a sudden I look up and there's 30 minutes to go. Sometimes that's the case, and I think those are probably some of the best ones in terms of content. I was able to get out and watch a little LSU football. I haven't been there for all of them. Got some responsibilities here and there, but was able to get away to watch a little bit of practice this morning. And I kind of wanted to go around the defense as I see it now. I do think that we can overreact to who's out there doing what drill and who's first and who's second and who's with the first team and who's with the second team really early in camp. And keep in mind, we are still really early in camp. But it's not as if the freshmen have no idea how to run the drills now. So guys that have performed through a week of camp are likely going to have the microscope, honed in a little bit more on them. And you want to kind of build towards having a first unit, having a second unit, letting them work together. I'm out there today, and the defense without the line, the linebackers and secondary are going through a drill where they're working on communication, and they've got scout team guys running dummy routes, and they're, not even three-quarter speed, half speed, working on when to pass things off and zone coverage and at what point you need to turn and cover another zone. And it's a communication drill. It's one that you need to be working with someone who you're going to be working with on the field when it counts. So I'm not here to proclaim the starting defense for you here. I am here to tell you what it looks like right now and who's working where, as I saw it this morning. Could change on Saturday. But here's what I looked at. You know that you've got the first team defensive front up there when Mekhi Wingo and Mason Smith are up there. If you heard me in the beginning of the show, I was talking about Mason Smith blowing up a couple of drills, just tossing offensive linemen around. He looked really good, and we know what Mekhi Wingo could be based on what he did last year in terms of his productivity. Braden Swinson was out there with them on one edge. Ogie Ahukfo was on another edge with them. Those are the transfers they brought in, older players, big frame, heavy guys that can handle the edge. That's what I saw first. Now, Savion Jones is going to have something to say about that on the edge. And I did take notice of him today because when he got to LSU, he had all those long levers and athleticism and kind of ranginess that you like in a pass rusher. He is no longer thin by any stretch. He's filled out. He's got the SEC ready body, And he's right there in the mix with those guys. But that's your main guys up front. Yes, Deshaun Womack is out there. Yes, Quincy Wiggins is out there, who, by the way, just is built like a funnel. Like he's got this broad shoulders and wide chest, and then he's got a waist that's like 30 inches. It's like he's just built like an athlete. And he's out there and looks the part. But I think right now on the edge, you're looking at Swinson, Okufo, and Savion Jones with the youngsters pushing up. That's your front. At linebacker, we're seeing Perkins, Penn, and Spates getting the lion's share of the reps. And I saw them at one point today, all three were out there. And I think that's likely going to be a situation, especially when they're ready to move Harold Perkins around. But as I was talking about to Meet the Freshman in the last segment, I don't think you're going to see Whit Weeks, West Weeks, those guys out there just yet. It's Penn, Spates, and Perkins. If there are two out there, I think it's Perkins and Spates. If you add a third and want to move Perkins around, I think Penn goes in there, and that gives you some veteran presence, some size, some athleticism, and some thump in the middle of that unit. That's kind of what we knew. The secondary was where we were like, okay, how do the parts piece together? And I'll tell you, they haven't shuffled the way that I necessarily thought that they would as of 2 weeks ago. Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut take the most first-team outside cornerback reps. They take the most. Now, you see some other guys, but they take the most. Major Burns is always out there, and Greg Brooks is almost always out there. But you're seeing Andre Sam come in and play a good bit. He made a great play in practice today, breaking up a pass in the red zone. He was there the entire way, never bit on a move, got the hand in front, and batted a ball away. Perfect form, perfect technique. Just what you would expect from a 33-year-old college player. He's not 33. He's like 24. But he's old for a college player, but he's out there. And we've seen a little bit of an emergence from Ashton Stamps, the young freshman. And he's sliding in there, sometimes for Deuce Chestnut, sometimes for Zy Alexander. You hear the coaches calling his name. They want to see more. I don't think this is a situation where Ashton Stamp is knocking on the door to be a starter. I think this is a situation where the pads went on today and the coaches are thinking, this is a guy we really liked at camp. Nobody else really saw him. Got him in the class. He's put on the weight that we asked him to put on. He's done some good things for a week. Let's see if there's more. And maybe he goes out there and it's not great. And okay, he needs some time. But maybe he goes out there and he does hold his own. Now, I didn't see enough of practice today to know how much he was holding his own. I saw enough to know that he was being asked to go out there and perform. So that's interesting. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, that was now an hour and a half ago, so the listenership kind of turns over a bit. Denver Harris does not get in first and second team reps very often. He is a guy that's running with a third team some, a guy that got beat a little bit in one-on-ones, and that is not a death sentence. That is not a burial. But it's just an indication of kind of where things stand right now. And if you were looking at this when the roster was being put together, and you said, okay, they're going to have one guy transfer in from Southeastern and one former five-star who was a midseason All-American based on performance at Texas A&M come in, who's going to be one of the first-team corners, I'm probably going to lean to the five-star that went to A&M instead of the guy that just played at Southeastern. Because Alexander is very much in the mix there. And Denver Harris right now is not. Now, Deuce Chestnut I fully expected to be in the mix. And I think it's interesting to see how they're handling the safeties. And another name that, to me, is not necessarily out there with the ones almost never and with the twos sometimes, but did get beat twice that I saw on individuals, Sage Ryan. Now, I'm told he had an interception later in practice, which hat tip there, great play. I wasn't there, didn't see it. But there are some guys in that nickel role, specifically like maybe Greg Brooks or Javian Toviano that could come down. Brooks down if Sam plays safety, that would take that spot from where we thought maybe Sage Ryan would be that guy. And so of all the position groups entering the spring, entering the fall, that I had the least certainty about it was the secondary. And the parts are moving a lot. But right now, if I had to tell you what I think is their number one unit, it's Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut on the outside. It's Major Burns and Greg Brooks back there. And you might bump Brooks up and put Sam in there at safety. I think that's what they like at this point. There's plenty of other guys, and there's some pieces to be moved around, and I like Toviano's size. I like what they've seen early from Stamps, and if you're going to slide a freshman in there, you might be able to. Numbers aren't your issue. It's performance. And I'll tell you this. We've talked for 2 weeks, a week and a half, about how the DBs and the defense has been getting cooked time and time again in camp. That was not the case today. They bowed up. They showed themselves out, and they threw a punch back at the offense. Has been very, very potent for a couple days. So good on the folks on the defense. That's kind of what it looks like right now for Matt House's crew. We'll hear from him a little bit later in camp. Mike Denbrock met with the media earlier today. Matt will have more from him coming up on After Further Review. Rouse's brings you our Thursday shows. I want to remind you to download the Rouse's app. It makes shopping so easy. You don't even have to go in the store. Now, Rouse's is a great shopping experience. I like to go in. But if you're busy, you got the kiddos, you got places to be, you got meetings late, you got practice to get to, you just don't have time to go in there and spend 30 minutes in the grocery store, just download the Rouse's app and do your shopping digitally. Rouse's will have a shopper do your shopping for you and then bring it right out to the front at your designated pickup time. And the best part is you don't pay an extra $1 if you spend $35 at Rouse's. It is free to have them walk your groceries out to the front. So convenient, so awesome. And Saints fans, if you have an online order of $100 or more and you use the promo code SAINTS20, they're going to give you $20 off. SAINTS20, easy promo code, great promotion, $20 off your 100-plus order of groceries. Rouse's is the official supermarket of said New Orleans Saints. Moving right along here on a Thursday, working towards the weekend. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we will do a little Take It or Leave It.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cancer's no fun, and it affects all of us. But there are so many people working to make sure that that's not the case. And we're so thrilled to tell you about Ochsner Health and MD Anderson Cancer Center partnering to create Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. This collaboration is going to provide patients in our region with access to cancer treatments that are among the most advanced in the nation. They're going to be customized treatments plans based on the patient. They're going to have access to MD Anderson's protocols and practice standards and direct access to MD Anderson specialists and researchers. Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center is going to offer groundbreaking research and innovative therapies, plus select clinical trials to patients that qualify. Expert care is going to be offered in 7 locations across South Louisiana, New Orleans, St. Tammany, and in Baton Rouge. Ochsner MD Anderson are going to work together to build additional sites. Such great news that our whole state at some point is going to be littered with folks fighting this terrible, terrible disease. If you want more information on Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center, go to ochsner.org. That is ochsner.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees.
Up on Friday's OTB. Let's get ready for the weekend, guys, as we got a Saints preseason game coming up, and you can expect to see the starters. What should you be watching? We'll break it all down off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thursday show is brought to you by Rouse's. Looking to do your weekend shopping? Starts at Rouse's. It's a location near you. Tell you to download that Rouse's app all the time. It is an awesome resource. I love the Rouse's Burbank and Lee. That's where we spend a lot of Fridays during football season and even into baseball season. That one's by you. It is a great spot. Great meat section in the back. They got all your spirits as well as your party trays for tailgating coming up. Rouse's should be your one-stop shop. We appreciate Rouse's for sponsoring our Thursday shows. All right, take it or leave it.
All right, first one here. As we mentioned earlier, Phil Mickelson allegedly bet more than $1 billion over the past 3 decades and even tried to bet on the U.S. in the Ryder Cup when he was playing in it. Now we know why he joined LIV. Take it or leave it.
I mean, it's possible. I think we'll take it.
I'll take it.
I don't. There's layers to that decision, and Phil will probably write a book, and he'll frame it his way, which he's done his entire life. He is a guy that wants his money, and he doesn't believe he was paid enough by the PGA Tour. And so while his comment that they were sitting on tens of billions of dollars, which was a really stupid comment, was dumb, like he wanted to strong-arm the PGA Tour into paying golfers more. And that was a crusade he was willing to do anything to get on board with, even if it meant partnering with people he knew were bad. And he said it. He said, I know what they did to that journalist was terrible, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to leverage the PGA Tour. He said it to a journalist. So that was, I think, the main reason. But losing $1 billion gambling or gambling $1 billion and losing whatever he did was probably helped to get $200 million up front to go play and live. That's true. And you mentioned this earlier. Like he tried to bet $400,000 on the U.S. Ryder Cup team, which, by the way, choked it away that Sunday at Medina and lost on a putt that was it Keimer that made it. Yeah, Martin Keimer made it. I don't think he was playing Phil, but it was. Yeah, I mean that would have been a tough loss for Phil to lose the Ryder Cup in heartbreaking fashion and drop $400,000 on it. So that's there's a lot of reasons he joined LIV, but I think that's one of them.
The Indianapolis Colts are going to be starting rookie QB Anthony Richardson in their preseason opener. Richardson will be the starter week 1. Take it or leave it.
I'll probably leave it. I just keep going back to that he wasn't any good in college. Like, he was not good in college. How many not good college quarterbacks become really good pros and good pros right out of the chute.
Yeah.
I don't know. He runs 80 yards on LSU, and that's fancy. And he had a good game against Tennessee up in Neyland, and they played well, and he was pretty good in the Swamp. But like, then there's your games against Kentucky and Vanderbilt where he looks atrocious. I just can't. I think they should definitely start him in the preseason opener. They should get him a ton of preseason reps. The opener of the season, I would say probably.
Reports are that the Buffalo Bills stadium renovation is running over budget by $300 million. That was a bad idea. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. I'll take it. It was a bad idea to renovate the Bills stadium in Orchard Park and not put a roof on it.
Yeah.
And I will just get lambasted by football guys over this, especially those in Buffalo. But, they jump and smash tables, and they got the guy who literally stands there and has people spray ketchup and mustard all over his entire body. They're a little different up there in Bills Mafia.
They don't care about the cold.
They don't care about winning and haven't for a long time. Now they got a good quarterback, so they have some football to watch. But I care about the cold even when I'm not there. The Bengals had to go there and play in a snowstorm. You can say, oh, that's really cool. It's cool for 10-year-olds on Christmas break to go play in the snow. It's not cool for NFL players to go out there when you can't feel your legs, you can't plant and cut. It's a disaster. Your weather in December and January does not allow for reasonable human activity. So we have to put things inside, and that's what they should have done. Football weather is 72 and sunny. The only way you're going to get 72 in Buffalo in January is to put a roof on it. That's what they should have done. The whole thing was a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree. All right, last one here. The FedEx Cup playoffs started today. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I don't really care about the FedEx Cup.
The Tour Championship means something.
It does. You get a lot of money for it, but they rigged the scoring because it's goofy. It's a cash grab. It's the Tour has been, like every other sport, married to the money. And every sport's got its problems because of the money. The NBA's got problems because of money because players can only sign with one team for a lot of money, and so they sign that and they don't want to play for the team. That's a problem. College athletics is being butchered because everybody's got to go chase the money, and that creates some issues. And in this case, golf is feeling like their players aren't getting enough money, so they're just inventing ways. Well, if you have the most Twitter interactions, you get $10 million. If you win this tournament that we start when somebody's got a 10-shot lead, then you get, $40 million or whatever it is. I don't remember what the FedEx Cup is worth anymore.
Yeah.
But, I like the PGA Tour week to week. I'm fine watching the John Deere and the Waste Management and the Arnold Palmer and Riviera, even when it's not the majors. I like that stuff, but it doesn't take on any added importance because it's the playoff. In fact, I'm probably less likely to watch it when some guys didn't even qualify for it that I'd like to watch play.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't do a lot for me, the FedEx Cup playoffs. I'm sure it does a lot for the guys that are playing in it and making a boatload of money. I just don't happen to be in that number. They're not going to pay me a ton of money to play golf this weekend, so I don't need much of the FedEx Cup. All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. As you'll hear coming up, and then we'll talk about tomorrow, I'm going to watch the Johnny Manziel documentary tonight. I'm told it's an hour and 12 minutes. I've got an hour and 12 minutes tonight. I can make that happen. I'm curious to see how this goes. I don't know what the genesis of it was. We know that Jordan was heavily involved in The Last Dance, so it's going to be painted that way. We know that Jalen Rose was heavily involved in the Fab Five 30 for 30, so we know how that's going to paint things. I'm not sure who came up with this. I'm curious to see what the story looks like. I'm curious to see. I'm told there are some details. I didn't want any spoilers, so when Jacob and T-Bob started talking about it this morning on their show, I backed up and didn't listen. I want to catch up with Hard Knocks too, but that'll probably be this weekend. I am going to watch the Johnny Manziel doc tonight, and I'll talk about it on the show tomorrow. So if you're going to be listening to the show tomorrow and you're bored tonight looking for something to do, watch the Johnny Manziel doc on Netflix because I'm going to talk about it on tomorrow's show. We'll also get you ready for Saints preseason game tomorrow. They play the Chiefs on Sunday, so we'll get ready for that. I think Mahomes is going to play a little bit, and we'll troll Carr will too. So a little bit to watch in the Saints preseason game on Sunday, and more from LSU camp as we continue to get some storylines developing from out there on the Ponderosa. If you missed our show today, I opened things talking about LSU practice today. My notes from today, like a whole notebook type deal, 4, 5, 6 points that I made. from today. Luke Johnson joined us at 1:15 to talk about the Saints from camp. He talked about Chris Olave, talked about Trevor Penning, talked about the tight end room and kind of how the roster spots work for all those folks. Shea Dixon previewed the Kaden Durham and Colin Simmons signings, or commitments, I should say, at 1:30. That's a little dated at this point, but we heard from them at 2 o'clock to open things up. We met the freshmen, Whit Weeks and Kamori and Pimpton, and then I gave you some more thoughts on LSU football, which you can always find on our YouTube channel, Hunt on LSU. For all your Saints content, hit up Hunt on Saints on YouTube as well. Thanks to Rouse's for bringing you our Thursday shows. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hunt Palmer Show.